Avoid the lottery of FIFA points. Head over to u7bike.com. Use the code TVM at checkout for a 5% off. What is going on, guys? TVM here. Welcome to another episode of One to Watch predictions for FIFA 20. So, yesterday, I think it was, I put out a list. And, of course, it wasn't every player who was up for a Ones to Watch card. In fact, today isn't every player either. But I've taken your comments on board. Some players that I've obviously left out of yesterday's episode will be included into today. And of course, if I've left anybody else out, feel free to let me know and we could possibly squeeze one more out. Although we would literally be scraping the barrel at that point. First player on the list is Weah. Now of Lille, of course, he moved from PSG. I'm unaware whether that's a loan move or a permanent move. Either way, I don't really see him getting a lot of football this season. Lille have got a couple of decent players in there, of course, Bamba on the left. They've got their new boy up front to replace Pepe, basically. Not in the same position, but he's got a couple of goals already this season. So I'd be surprised if Weah got that much football, although I am looking forward to seeing him play, if indeed when he gets on the pitch. Iwobi up next. A bit of a surprise transfer in the summer, really. Not that Iwobi left, that wasn't the surprise. The fact that he went to Everton and for as much money that he went to Everton for was the surprise. Of course, I don't think he started for Everton yet, has he? So that makes it even more surprising that they've spent that much money and he's not gone straight into their team. But nonetheless, it's a Premier League player. It's one of those lower rated cards that EA tend to do through the one to watch period. So wouldn't be surprised to see him grab a one to watch card. Skov up next, and I'm a big fan of this guy in FIFA 19. Hopefully his form can come over and convert into Bundesliga. It's a bit of a difficult thing, really, to move from a quote-unquote smaller league into a top 5 league. He was the big fish in a small pond, and now he's a small fish in a big pond. So he needs to rise, I guess. He has the stats, the base stats, to be an okay starter player, but then, of course, we just need one or two more informs, and this guy could be a real player in FIFA 20. Firpo, now of Spain and Barcelona, up next. I think he's now Spanish, right? I think he changed his nationality from Dominican Republic to Spanish. However, nonetheless, regardless of whether I got that right or wrong, he has moved to Barcelona. I know that much. Between sort of midway through last season and the end of last season, he really started to come into his own, started clocking up a few informs here or there, and then that's of course when Barca swooped in and took him up. It's a good signing, in my opinion. It's sort of a Jordi Alba apprentice in a way, so he can take over from him. But in terms of FIFA, I'm not entirely sure if he does get a ones to watch how much game time he's going to get, so I wouldn't say that this was a good investment, but you never know. Marko Arnautovic up next, and of course West Ham fans will probably be happy to see the back of this guy. Just throws his toys out of the pram every time money is thrown at him. He's moving to Shanghai, or rather has moved to Shanghai. I would imagine that they'll downgrade his card ever so slightly here. I think he was an 82 in FIFA 19. He played relatively well throughout the season, but because he's made a move to that league, EA tend to, downgrade. They didn't do it with Talisca and Oscar. Well, did they? No, they did do it with Oscar, and then they upgraded him again, didn't they? So yeah, I would imagine that they'll bump him down to an 81. He might stay in an 82, but either way, he's kind of lost it for me now that the appeal of Marko Arnautovic is no longer there. I used to love him getting an inform in the Premier League because it meant you could fit him into some decent teams, and he always fits the game so well because of his strength and his height, etc. But unfortunately now he's gone, and I just don't see this being a useful card. I'm not entirely sure on the rules on the whole Juventus, Piemonte, Calcio, whatever nonsense it's called. So I don't know whether ones to watches are possible, whether EA are allowed to do that sort of thing. There are 3 Juventus, or whatever they're called, players in this episode. I left them out of last episode and people kept mentioning them in the comments, so I thought, you know what, we'll throw them in, we'll talk about them. Aaron Ramsey, of course, made his move. I think he was one of the first players to confirm a transfer for that summer window. It was done so early, and I'm hoping he does well. Of course, Juventus kick off the Italian League campaign Saturday evening. I think it's against a newly promoted side away from home, so hopefully Ramsey gets a start and hopefully he does well. So after a very impressive season through FIFA 19, 7 years, made the move to Montpellier. In my opinion, that's a bit of a sideways move. I think either stay where you are or wait for a bigger club to come in. No disrespect, but I just don't really see why that move happened. Maybe there's a reason, and if you know, let me know. But maybe those stats are a little bit too generous. Looking at that, that's not an 81 rated card, is it? That's like an 82, 83 rated card. But either way, he should he should not get one, but he's definitely going to be in contention of getting one because he'll probably be one of the lower rated ones to watch cards. And as I alluded to earlier, they often tend to throw in a couple of relatively low rated ones to watch cards because you can't have all of them like 86, 87 rated. Speaking of 86 rated players, Buffon has been in the game for as long as I can remember, and I think he may get one of his first ever downgrades here, down to an 86. I think he was downgraded once before, and then he had a January upgrade back up to where his original rating was, so I don't know whether EA will have the guts to do it this time, but he's not going to be the main goalkeeper at Piemonte Calcio, whatever they're called. So, I think a downgrade is probably justified to a degree. But that being said, you never know. He may break into the first team and put Szczesny on the bench. You just don't know what's going to happen. I'm pretty sure Perrin is still there as well. They've got 3 top European goalkeepers, which is just crazy. Moving on. Ndombele of Spurs. I haven't upgraded this guy an awful lot because I'm not sure whether he's proved himself enough to be upgraded like tremendously. Maybe 81 for those stats is a little bit too low. Maybe he should be 82. I wouldn't mind either way. I'm really not bothered. I've upgraded his shooting considerably because of that effort that he had the other week where he absolutely rifled it from the edge of the area. And it doesn't look like that's a freak occurrence either. It looks like he could do that fairly regularly. So I just wanted to reflect that in the card, really. EA don't tend to do that sort of thing. A player needs to literally score 20 years worth of goals for them to recognise that a player has decent finishing. Raheem Sterling in FIFA still has terrible finishing, despite the fact that he's one of the highest goal scorers in the league year on year for the last, 3 or 4 seasons running. But it is what it is. Mats Hummels is back in a Dortmund shirt, and he could be back down to an 87 rated card. Age is what has done this for me. Not that I agree with it, because I don't think age should have a factor on a rating, but EA do, because EA are EA. So, 87 rated Mats Hummels now for Dortmund. I'm not sure whether this would be given as a ones to watch. There are a lot of players like this. You've got the likes of Godin, there's Miranda, a few other sort of defenders, literally centre-backs, veteran centre-backs who are very, very good, but they've moved to not to lesser teams, because Dortmund, in my opinion, will win the league. So, if anything, they're not a lesser team. They are definitely equal to Bayern. But I just think that EA will see this as a downgrade for whatever reason. Pepe now of Arsenal. I left him out of the last episode for no reason whatsoever other than the fact that I needed more players for today. He's obviously moved from Lille, leaving Bamba to do the work by himself, and he's joined Arsenal. I don't think he has a start to his name at Arsenal just yet, although I'm sure that will come. This guy is the real deal. In FIFA 19, I think he had more special cards than any other player. He was racking them up. Literally, week on week, you could have given him an inform. If it weren't for EA's rules you have to leave it like 2 weeks between each inform, he literally would have been 90 rated by Christmas. It's crazy how well this guy did last year. It literally came out of nowhere. But with that being said, can he cut it in the Premier League? That is a question that remains to be answered. I've upgraded him to an 83. Let me know down below, what rating do you think Pepe deserves in FIFA 20? Ligt is our final player, so if this is where you leave, then I appreciate you watching this far, and I shall see you in the next one. If you're going to stick around for a little bit, I'm going to tell you a short story here. I've given him an 85 rated card, which I think is justifiable. Could they make him an 86? Kind of. He'd be on the same sort of level as a Skriniar type character then, but my argument with it is that I think, it's too much too soon. I think 85 is about right. Luke de Jong, I think I made him 83, possibly 84 at a push. I saw a Twitter account yesterday claiming to have seen or have the FIFA 20 player ratings for a few players. Now, I don't actually believe it, although they are considered to be relatively reputable. They've got quite a few followers, etc., and people seem to be believing it. And the image that I saw was Frankie de Jong, now of Barcelona, of course, has a once-to-watch card, and he's 85 rated. That, to me, is a little bit high. Now, if that is true, there's no way De Ligt isn't an 86 or an 87 rated card, which again is a little bit too high for me. So that's why I didn't think it was real, but thought it was worth mentioning. But if that is the case, then it's going to be interesting to see what other player ratings have been given this year, because I don't see De Jong as an 85 rated player just yet. I think 84 is pushing it as well. So with that being said, if I've left anyone out, which I know full well I have done on purpose as well, because if we are going to make another episode, we need some players to leave out, right? So I have left a couple on purpose, but you can let me know down below, just in case you think of one that I haven't thought of. Let me know in the comment section down below what player you think will get himself a ones to watch card, and hopefully if we do another one of these tomorrow or the day after, etc., I will include them in there. If you have enjoyed it though, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and until the next time, goodbye.
Football Index, the game changed. Download the app now.